All right. So Street Fighter 6 season 2 tier list. I know there's a lot of opinions about how this tier list is going to look. Everybody has their own perceptions, and every region has their own set of ideals that comes to the tier list, because there's strong players for some characters in some regions that they don't have in others, so that can play into it. But overall, I think we can pretty easily say who's really strong, and from just what we understand from the game. My biggest take, or probably me and Herms will probably go ahead and agree on this, control is everything in this game. So control and forcing situations run the game. So those I feel like are going to be the characters that are probably the best, on top of having the strong, and then having strong win condition. So Herm, would you agree? Probably the best character in the game, but by a very small margin, but it's mostly because of his win condition, is probably Rashid, right? Probably.
Yeah. I say just because of his win condition, because he has bad matchups, but those kind of don't matter if level 2 is out on the screen. Most characters deal with it the same way, outside of outliers like Bison, maybe Cammy if she has level 3. Like, most characters just got to hold it. Terry, I know, can do something, but on knockdown, everybody, it's the same burger, bro. You can't deal with that shit.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Sim might be the only other character that might be able to somewhat deal with it, because he can teleport out of the way of it. But like, that's still
Jp.to, yeah, just a little bit, but that's not enough. It's not enough to win consistently.
It's not consistent. Yeah, it's not a consistent. And I think that's the only thing that puts him there, is literally the win condition. Like, if he didn't have level 2, I still think he would be a good character, but I don't think he'd be the best character in the game, because, like I said before, things that I value and feel like run the game are control. And I don't feel like Rashid's control overall from a gameplay perspective is the best. I mean, it's not like his neutral is like overbearing, because it's not. I mean, he's got good drive rush pressures, drive rush numbers, and pressure is pretty good.
Janky anti-airs.
Yeah, like all the Rashids have lived and died by their anti-airs. All of them, they all live and die by that. But outside of that, though, his control comes from his very consistent flow of offense, and very, very, very good drive efficiency. His drive efficiency is probably one of the better in the game.
Corner carry as well. That's why he doesn't have to drive. Drive rush, I mean.
But mostly what puts him there, I think, is win condition, for sure. But the next character, I think this is going to be a toss-up, and maybe we'll discuss this one a little bit. I honestly think it's got to be between Guile or Akuma. It's probably next.
I want to say Guile because of Akuma's health, but when you play Akuma, you know what you're signing up for. And yeah, it's a weakness, but the amount of damage Akuma does kind of takes away from the amount of health he has. Because I feel like you also have 9k health playing against Akuma. His neutral is good on top of his fireball. His knockdown mid-screen is okay. It's not like the best, but his corner game is the best in the game. In the game
by far the best in the game. I think it's gonna really boil down to just what you value. The pros and cons that I see. If you hang around us or in our conversations, we talk a lot about DPOS and what it does for the game. They both have it, but Akuma has it on tap, so that's huge. And you can't, in the counterplay to DPOS that most characters have, which is Drive Rush DI, does not work against Akuma. It doesn't work. It works against Guile, but it doesn't work against Akuma. On top of having it on tap. Akuma's off. I think Akuma's corner offense is better, but Guile's mid-screen presence and forcing situations is better. Just because of fireball drive rush. So it's really just going to depend on what you value. But I could argue Guile though, just because of the consistency of the overall exchanges that you're gonna have in the game. You're forcing people into your presence, versus Akuma is just kind of still playing. But he has his things that he can force exchanges with, but they all require risk. Whereas like the risk for Guile is very minimal.
Yeah. On top of Guile plays against majority of the cast the same, meaning you play his game and not the other way around. Guile will do the same shit no matter who it is. Yeah, he has his bad matchups like Cammy, JP.
I don't even think Cammy's bad, but it's probably even. It's
because of level 3. I'm just thinking like he has to change his stuff up for like Cammy, JP, Marisa. Like there's certain characters where he does struggle. He's not perfect, but I understand that Guile takes a lot of work to play, and no Guile has won a tournament or whatever. But the character he's so strong where he does whatever he wants, all the time outside of a couple of characters. So
yeah,
Fireball Drive Rush is amazing. His corner carry isn't the best, but his Oki is good off of everything damn near. And then his corner game is really good. So
yeah, I agree.
It's like you can't put Guile nowhere else in my opinion.
Yeah, good
like you said before, it's because of control. Yeah, 7 frame level 1, good level 2, and a good level 3. He's just really good, bro. He deserves to be up there. But I don't know which one to go first, Guile or Akuma. You can. It's kind of
I'll probably go ahead and say Guile for this one last detail that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I think it's very important. I think Guile, there's only 2 characters in the game that I feel like that can play in Burnout like effectively, and that's Sim and Guile. They're the only ones in the game I feel like that can effectively play, and maybe Jamie, I guess now because of how his drink stuff works. But even then, it's still kind of like a gamble. But I feel like Guile can actually, he doesn't really give a crap about being in Burnout because his stall game is so good. And that also plays into his supers as well. Like if you have level 2 super, you're gonna get, like, being in Burnout is gonna be extremely minimal. Like he'll get out of it. It's fine. So on top of his like putting somebody else in when they're in burn, yeah, probably Guile number 2. That's probably pretty safe. But I will go ahead and probably say Akuma's right behind him. Like I'll just go ahead and say that, like, just because he's like the opposite end of the coin as far as that. He's just different. Like he wins in a different way, but he still has extremely strong control. Fireballs, phenomenal. Extremely good counter poke buttons between crouch medium punch, stand hard punch, forward hard punch, forward medium kick. Like all these buttons are crazy strong. Very good strings as well, up close, -1 jab. Just he's crazy strong. He's crazy strong. He definitely takes work, just like Guile, I think. Like he can kind of bottom feed a little bit with demon flip stuff if you're not ready in air fireball, but most of that stuff is not even like really prevalent at high level play. That's not the reason why they win. It's more so because of the control and then the corner damage.
Yeah. So. Speaking of control, and we only have like, and everybody else's tier list is like top 5. We're gonna have more than 5 people, 5 characters up here. Well, I think the next character is Ed. I think it's Ed and Ken. I think Ed and Ken are the next ones to go up. Because Ed's control is fucking nuts. His meter gain is insane. He can still DPOS. His level 1 is a bit slow. He has some like bad matchups similar to all the other characters, but he's so consistently strong, where he does what he wants, and he can adapt and put himself at different ranges of the screen at all times. Damn near. Yeah. Like Ed isn't really afraid of much, I feel. And then it would be similar with Ken. Like all the characters up here can kind of like keep their game tight and then still win by not having to do anything or go out of their way to do something. They can all win off of control alone. And and the next character, we'll talk about all 3 of them, and then like it's not just top 5 to us. Cammy will go up there next, but she takes more. With Cammy, she just takes more exchanges. She has the perfect buttons for the job, good level 3, good corner carry, but more exchanges than every other character up here. Besides probably, well, no, Rashid level 2, but she takes the most exchanges out of all the top, like, quote unquote 5. But she will be up there in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think she belongs.
I strongly agree on all 3 of these characters in this specific order because edge control, and then yet again, the one thing we have to consider with a lot of these characters is matchup spread. The characters, all these characters have very strong matchup spreads of characters that also don't show up in tournament that much. Like all these characters, yeah, they may struggle with somebody that's below them, but those characters don't come up enough, like in high level play. So, like Rashid, I know they don't like Chun. Like they don't particularly like Chun, but Chun doesn't come up that much, so there's not that. I mean, I feel like the only matchup that comes up enough that in high level play is Gief. I know they don't like Gief either, and that's understandable. The fact that it's janky, but like usually it takes a specialist or a really strong player to knock out a Rashid player. It's not like most of the high level Rashid players, they'll beat a run of the mill Gief. It has to be another really strong Gief. But if we're just talking about from like high level play to 2 strong players, those are only like 2 matchups in particular that I know of that are like really bad. There might be some others because I haven't seen enough of Rashid's matchups, but I know those 2 stand out. So Guile, yet again, Guile only really loses to what, like Sim, and the only other character that really comes up in the high elo
JP.
is JP. That's it.
He's the most relevant one that pops up, and then Marisa, and nobody plays Marisa.
Nobody plays Marisa, so and that matchup is still questionable if it's like really good or bad. So then Akuma really only loses to, like, if he's gonna lose to anybody, it's gonna be other top tiers. But his damage and what he does in control is so good. Yet again, same with Ed. Like, who does Ed lose to? Like what? Like Cammy maybe, and then like what? Like Kim is a little bad.
It's only
Sim
2
is
I can
bad
think
too.
of. Yeah,
Sim is bad. Sim is bad too. They don't like Sim, and that's fair. But yet again, Sim doesn't come up. Ken, I think has probably the worst quote unquote matchup spread of the characters up here, but his game is so consistent that it doesn't really matter. Like one hit is going to put him in the best position in the game, so it really doesn't matter how bad the matchup is, because he's going to get it's the way the game works. You're going to make contact, you're going to get hit, you're going to get thrown at some point. It's not like you're going to keep him out the whole time. That's like that's impossible. Like that's not the only way he's not going to get to his win condition is if you perfect him and he doesn't touch you, and that's not going to happen like all the time, because it won't. And then same with Cammy. Like Cammy's bad matchups are mostly, yet again, in the higher end of things, it's just going to be Gief, really. And then Honda. I know Honda is a bit of a problem as
and
well.
Blanka. But those are like the 3.
Yeah. I still think Blanka does give her some issues. I know it's probably better nowadays, but it's still not great. But those 3 characters in particular are the only ones I feel like that really give her like any trouble. I feel like everybody else she handles just fine. She either beats or goes even with them. So but that's our top characters for sure. Like I just feel like out of all these characters, I think Cammy is definitely at the bottom just because of the application it takes. And her control also comes from understanding other opponents more so than just straight up answering things, because the reward is kind of low when she just answers stuff. But whereas the other characters above her, they get a lot more reward for their control.
Yeah.
Cammy kind of has to take some risks. Like for her stuff that's scary needs to come into play.
Well, do you want to add JP up there? You want to put JP up there and be like what, top 7?
I think it's fair that he deserves a spot up here. I think just because of his control, yet again, matchup spread's really good. He only really loses to other
Cup character too. He's a Capcom Cup winner.
He is $1 million winner, so he does deserve to be up here. Yet again, characters that really disrupt him are only like Cammy, and I don't think Cammy is like horrible. It's
Cammy, Kimberly. I'm trying to think of any other character. I'm not sure. I was going to say Bison, but
I would feel like Bison. It would probably be the only other one that I can think of that might like really give him a lot. And then Sim, they don't like Sim, so I can see that too. But like out of these characters, I feel like they definitely are up here. I just think it's Cammy and JP. It's the application. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with those characters. Like, you could easily go wrong. Even though their game plan is tight, it can easily be disrupted by like one good thing, and they fall apart.
On top of JP requires you to understand him, similar to Guile. You're playing JP's game, for the most part, and JP does take a lot of work, but his game is so strong where you have to understand JP to beat him, and he does that to most of the characters in the game. Good damage, good corner carry, set play is nuts, as we've seen with Kakaroo and Capcom Cup. Like strong supers, strong level 1, strong level 3. Neutral is pretty good in his own way. He don't have like the typical normals that every other character had, but it's good. So this will be our top characters. This would be like everybody's version of top 5. We have top 7.
But the next echelon of characters, like just that are characters that are still really strong, and could easily still do really well, is probably the one that I think everybody is probably shocked that we don't have up there with great is Bison. And one thing that I'll say is I don't feel like you can be up here. You can honestly, we can almost like switch these kind of, but it's just up for debate. But one thing that I feel like in this game, you can't be a top character in this game without a DP and a fireball. That's why I don't feel like Cammy is top 5. And maybe JP can maybe slide next here, but you have to have both. And the reason why we say that is because of one, drive rush. Fireball kind of keeps drive rush at bay to some degree, on top of the fact that it forces easy ways to get drive back without having to make contact with someone. So that's huge. And then of course DPOS. Not having a DP in this game means you're going to have to hold situations that others don't. So that means you're going to have to play perfectly or not get into this exchange, which you will, because as soon as you make contact with somebody, you're going to be in an exchange regardless. So that's why I wouldn't put Bison up here. His game plan is still really strong, but it's unstable because if it doesn't get going for whatever XYZ reason, like, he could just lose. Now, of course, he could touch you, and that could be the beginning of the end, but he kind of still has to take neutral risks to touch you. Like, yeah, scissor kick is really dumb, and it can be random, but one good neutral jump, I mean, it missed space, somebody walks in, walks back, and it misses. Like, he might not even get to fight back. So,
yeah,
that's why I still feel like he's up here, because his win condition is still really strong. He still has, like, one of the dumbest win conditions in the game, though, which is why he's here. So,
next DLC character on the list, I agree, but I know there's another character that people are shocked we don't have up there, and you can probably guess who she is. Yep.
You know, say the king, the queen of Street Fighter 6 now, who is ruining the game.
Miss I ruined the game, Miss so top 1, Miss I'ma switch to this character next season because she is so strong. We don't see it. I mean, we get it because we do. The character is very annoying to deal with. She requires you to understand how to perfect parry her fireballs and what range to do it. She has very good pressure in neutral. I understand that some people think her heavy kick is broken. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Like, her neutral when it comes to buttons, I'm gonna break it down, is okay. Like, her medium kick is good. Her heavy kick is good, but yeah, I hear people say it's the best heavy kick in the game. I'm like, Juri is right there. I've never ever, like, it's rare where if Juri has misplaced heavy kick. My misplaced heavy kick all the time. So, yeah. Like, that button isn't as dumb. Stand medium punch is good. It's confirmable. Heavy punch is really good. It's also confirmable. Her low forward is probably her most meh button to me, in my opinion. Crouch medium punch moves her forward, and I think it's -3. Yeah, it is. It's -3 on block, but it moves her forward, so she has like very good contest game in that way because she has a 6 frame that pushes her forward. So she has a bunch of things that set her up to be really good, like fireball drive rush, a fast drive rush on its own, a level 1 that's 6 frames, a level 2 that's 7 frames, and if she's in level 1, can go through fireballs. Also TK and go above fireballs to hit him. Level 3 is really like is good. But she doesn't do any more. She doesn't do that much damage outside of level 1. For the most part, she just kind of she peshes you with the fireball, and then she throws you, and then she like rinses repeat that process. But if it doesn't work, then her neutral isn't good enough for her to just like it's good. Well, it is good enough for her to just kind of fall back on to play lane. But there's nothing that's overbearing. If Mai is low on drive, you're 9 times out of 10 gonna win against her because she can't just do her game anymore. On top of she has bad matchups, like bad matchups that appear. Every character up there, damn near, like Guile. Guile's probably slightly in Guile's favor. I know she loses against Akuma. I'm not sure if she does against Ed, but I can't imagine her beating Ed. Ken does okay against her. Cammy beats her. JP beats her. Bison beats her.
Definitely beats
DeeJay beats her. Terry beats her. Luke beats her. Like, she has all these bad matchups, but people will sit up here and tell me that, number one, I understand top characters can have bad matchups. Her win condition is really strong, but I just don't think she does enough for me to put her up there with the others. Like, her control is just okay. If y'all are gonna like combat that and like, oh, Rich and Hermit said it's all about control. You telling me Mai's control isn't good? It's good, but she's not consistent as the rest of the characters. Same thing with like Bison. So and I know that's very like hard for people to imagine because Bison literally kills you in 2 or 3 touches. It happened to me, and Mai's like the same, but she's just not as consistent as the top 7 we have listed.
Yeah,
hot take, I guess. Hot take.
I definitely feel like it's definitely going to be a hot take for us, but and that's fine. That's okay. Everybody has their own opinions, but like when it comes to like her control is 2 meter dependent. Like it's way 2 meter dependent, and she might not get enough out of it. So just because like even if one EX fan doesn't turn into something, she's at a huge deficit. So it's like she almost has to use another one or drive rush to try and clean it up and even make it relevant. So she can use 3 bars, yet again like a low 4 drive rush just to get maybe 1200 damage. And in the throw situations that she has aren't even that good. Like if she throws you mid screen, like she has a wheel of options, but those wheel of options have specific counterplay, and yet again might not turn into anything. Yep. So she could easily burn herself out forcing a throw, and then having to use more meter to try and force that throw into anything else, but that still might not turn into anything. So at this point, she could be 5 bars deep for 1200 damage. But we want to complain about that, but I get it. I understand.
On top of, think about what characters she beat. Like, actually, think about what characters she destroyed. What character does Mai necessarily destroy?
I can't even think
None
of
them.
Like
she doesn't really beat anybody. She goes even with a lot of people, and that's not holding her back from being top tier, because that could be the case. But she beats like Honda. And that's like the only character I could think of. Probably Blanka a little bit.
Who cares? You beat Honda, bro.
Honda is he's in the bin, alright? He's in the bin. In the storage shed, wherever you want to put Honda, he trash. Honda's never gonna appear. Who cares? She has to still work. Go ahead and put him there. She has to still put in work. I know, kill me for it, but she has to still put in work against every other character because it's still even. She is just very annoying to deal with. It doesn't feel good to lose to her or Bison. So they literally deserve each other. They deserve each other in this tier list. Kill us for it. I understand. Everybody has their opinion, as Rich stated before.
Yeah, I think they're the next character for sure. That's probably pretty. I feel like this character, if anything happens to any of these characters for any reason, or the game shifts into a different direction that's maybe more defensively oriented or anything like that, this character's gonna shoot up. Like I feel like she's like in the perfect place right now for where the game is. But if the game shifts in either direction, I feel like she's either gonna stay the same or go up.
Yep.
So she yet again is like a lot of these characters where her game plan is very stable. Like she kind of plays the same game plan against everybody, but the characters that she does have issues with is because they disrupt that game. But there's not that many of them. She also has strong supers as well. That I feel like there's something that we need to constantly keep reiterating is like having strong supers to answer situations is very important in this game. Also with speed as well. Very fast level 1 that can do more damage depending if she has stocks or not, which is even crazier. I mean, very like this character shits damage too. Damage is out of control. Like it just seems like it just comes out of nowhere. This character does a lot of damage to you. Also being able to force exchanges on her own with her Fuha, just having it out on the screen is control in itself. And we're not even going to go into our buttons yet. That's just having a slow moving fireball that moves across the bottom of the screen that goes under other fireballs. So I definitely feel like neutrally though, we'll get into that. She reminds me a lot of anybody who's ever been around is either Street Fighter V's Chun-Li or Colin, where it's just like she can touch you, but you can't touch her.
Yeah.
She kind of keeps you in that pocket, and the spacings that you need to be at to counter her neutral are different. Like where you had to stand out to answer stand high kick is different than when you had to answer crouching medium kick versus stand hard punch. Like it's like almost 3 different ranges, but they're all like so close to each other, but also yet so far away from each other. So you're gonna play into her neutral no matter how you slice it. So the only characters that really even remotely give her any trouble are the ones who don't have to deal with that space that much, and that's usually most of the characters with fireballs. But even then, like she's gonna make contact with you. It's gonna happen. So corner control, probably one of the best drive rush buttons in the game, would drive rush medium kick, really fast drive rush. I think the only thing that's really holding her down is when she does get close to you. It's not like her throw presence is not as good because her lights aren't that good. So she kind of has to rely on her mediums a little bit more, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a shakeup in this game.
It's really opinionated if you think that's better than having having
that's
strong mediums is better than lights. But PR Balrog played her for like the first year, and he said one of his biggest issues is the fact that she has very like her light strings aren't as good as other characters. She can't get back into that position where she normally like sits without using meter. She can do 3 crouch jabs into EX fireball, I think, something like that. But I don't even think that pushes her out. I think that just makes her plus. So she can never like go back into her prominent range. And very similar to Mai, the characters that she beat don't really come up all too much. She goes even with a good amount of characters, and the characters that she loses to are very prominent. You got Bison, Guile, like she slightly loses to, Rashid slightly loses to, Akuma, Ed, Ken. I think Cammy is even, JP is even, but like all of those characters pop up a lot. DeeJay, I haven't named DeeJay. She doesn't lose to him as bad as before, but like it's still pretty
hard.
bad. So
Luke is not great either. Just Luke is not like.
She still has like issues similar to Mai and Bison. Like they still have issues they need to get over, and if you disrupt their plan or like their game plan or their sense of balance, control, whatever, they fall apart. Yeah. So, but she's still good enough to work around her bad matchups. Look at Nephew and $1 million character still, because she still is. But
she's still a $1 million character.
She beat Luke, and Luke was her bad matchup. She beat Chris Wong, Grand Finals, 2022, 2023 or whatever. So she's good, but just similar to Mai. For those of you who think we're playing her up a bit, I can see what you mean, but this is just our opinion. Once again,
our opinion. Yeah, probably the next few characters. I'm gonna go ahead and roll in because they're very close. And it is yet again going to just depend on who you ask. I definitely think this character has jumped quite a bit in the last few months, and these 2 characters in particular are very scary for their own reasons. I feel like Terry he's like literally one buff away, or maybe one change of the game away from being maybe up here. I think he's really close to being up there. I think his only real thing that's holding him down. Some of his frame data is still a little janky. His light pressure up close is really janky as well. So that's kind of weird as well. I mean, but his pressure mid screen, bum knuckle is like I like to call it, bum knuckle, is extremely belligerent. It's very easy to space and can force exchanges off of that. Damage with level 2 that does more damage than some of his level 3 setups is crazy. The application of it alone is wild. Also extremely drive efficient character as well. So I definitely feel like he deserves, and then really good control as well.
And
Bad
then with
matchup for Mai, by
Terry,
the way.
yeah, I was gonna say one more thing with Terry. When it comes to other character or just the cast, when the character gets to level 3, you don't want to take a risk. When Terry gets to level 2, you do not want to take risks.
You will die.
Can't throw a fireball if he's close to you. You can't get hit by an overhead. You can't get hit, period. You will die. So he can kill you faster than any other character can, on top of having good neutral, or sooner than any other character can, because of how much his level 2 does. So I think that's one of the best things about him. On top of everything else he has.
That's why his efficiency, his drive efficiency, really plays into that. It really complements that, because level 2, you get if you watch Street Fighter 6, you get 2 bars of super every round. So essentially, he can do this every round. So the threat of that is always going to be there. So, but the next character, definitely Aki. Aki, probably one of the biggest, when it comes to characters and things and strategies in the game, she upholds Fireball Drive Rush probably the best, next to Guile and Juri. I guess maybe Mai.to, but like her Fireball Drive Rush is probably is really powerful. Her damage is really high.
Stupid.
But it can be high. Well, the one thing that I'll say, I feel like Bison and Aki are the two sides of the coin of this game, where one forces exchanges in a really nasty way because they infect you with something, and it makes you consider. Some people would even argue that Aki's situations are worse than Bison's. That's yet again up to for opinion, but and I can kind of see why, because with Aki you're actually losing damage. Like if you get poisoned like at all, you're losing health, like slowly but surely. So yeah, you may not be losing a lot of health right up front, but then if she touches you, you take just about as much damage as you would from like a bomb setup. On top of it, like you're gonna be in that situation again while losing more health.
Yeah, that's right. She's the only character in the game that does like chip damage to your health, low key. I didn't think about it like that. That's true.
So that's just gonna be depending on who you ask when it comes to that. I mean, the application of getting a bomb versus application of getting a poison, I feel like it is comparable. But she doesn't really have to make contact with you for her strongest win condition to come into play, because she doesn't, like, if you walk into the poison, it does no damage to you, but now she also controls the screen with it as well, because you don't want to walk into that space because it's there, so like it's I think the only thing that really holds her down though, like, is if she's not in a position where she's forcing Fireball Drive Rush, her button to button game is not very good. It's just okay. She's not like really whiff punishing you into anything, and not playing a character that plays around whiff punishing in this game is already a bit of a downer because of how it affects drive and things of that nature. She doesn't necessarily do well like in trying to burn you out or anything. She doesn't do like a lot of drive damage or anything like that, so you don't feel pressed in that regard. On top of that, her defense isn't the best as well. I mean, she has some options, but they lose to basic strike throw. I mean, if you just throw her, like, her best defensive option gets messed up just off of that. Yeah. So supers are okay. Like, she has okay supers. Like, level 1's alright. It's more defensive than it is anything else. Level 2, more so for ending matches, I guess, and combo fodder, I guess. And then level 3 is alright. I mean, she has very typical supers. So that's something that in the great characters, her supers are kind of meh, where all these characters have really strong supers for their respective reasons. So I feel like that's definitely something she's lacking on top of the defense. So, but I still think she needs to be up here because her win condition is still really strong. Like she can not even have to make contact with you to put you in a situation where you're like, oh shit, I can't afford to get hit, but I'm still losing health. So I have to play into her to some degree. So
yeah, but once again, matchup spread. She loses to a lot of the top tiers.
Kills her as well.
She loses to, well, not sure if she loses to Rashid, but I don't see him struggling that much. Guile does his own thing. I don't think they like that matchup. And I also like they're both like, I heard Guile's not say they don't like that matchup, and I hear Aki say they don't like that matchup. Akuma destroys her. Ed, I think Ed beats her.
I think he does okay against her because he doesn't have to really deal with the fireball drive rush that much.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Ken, I'm pretty sure is not that great, but it's probably not. It's not as bad as Akuma, but Ken, like, he can carry her to the corner, she can disappear. Cammy destroys aerial problems, and like she just can't do nothing consistently against Cammy. She has to wait for Cammy to make a mistake. So I don't have to go through everybody. Bison, like, it's a lot of characters because you don't have a good 5-frame punish. Like, I can see her struggling with. That's just like every character in A is they're gonna meet that criteria. So I don't have to say it every time.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of it is definitely her control. It's just she's more so here because of her win condition is very strong. Like, she has a very strong win condition, and that can kind of supersede matchups sometimes. But control is definitely lacking. So, but the next character I would probably go ahead and put here is probably Gief. Gief has really good control in the neutral. His matchup spread is pretty good. I feel like even at the highest level, I feel like he does well against most of the Shotos. Like, most of the Shotos don't really don't particularly do really great against him. They're kind of knee-jerked into playing offense against him, like really rushing him down to just try and make it so he doesn't get to play. But you're playing into his best position, which is right next to him. So I think that alone is really powerful. Also, he does really well against Cammy as well. Another one of matchups I think Cammy doesn't particularly like. But yet again, the only matchups I feel like he really struggles with don't show up that much. Like, what is it, like Gief? Like, Gief loses to like what, Sim? Like, Sim is not great. I've heard Lilly's not great as well.
No, Lilly, Sim, Manon, JP.
Yeah. I forgot about JP.
No, I can't say. And I think Chun-Li maybe.
Chun-Li is questionable, but I think she can do it.
Yeah, he beats Juri, so like.
Yeah,
so his matchup spread is pretty good when it comes to the top level of characters, and every other character he kind of goes even with. I think Gief is in a good position in this game. He does have some really annoying stuff that I would kind of change, but we're not gonna get into it. But he's not overbearing, where he's just fucking everybody up, and he's not ass like he was in 5. I think he deserves to be right here. He deserves to be this good.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's fine. And probably the next character is probably the last one that's probably going to be in this group, which is also going to share, kind of have 7 and 7 here. It's probably DeeJay. I still think DeeJay has a lot in the tank as far as he has solid enough control. Like, I know he was really wild season 1. He was kind of just drive rushing around, doing big damage, being really crazy. But now I think people kind of understand his game a little bit better, on top of the fact that he doesn't do as much damage as he did. But he still has really good upfront control, very drive efficient as well. Defensively, he's pretty good. As He has really good anti-airs. It's like an anti-air game. It's some variance in it, but he has a really good anti-air game from a lot of different ranges. But I definitely think also too. I really feel like it's just like his control and damage is still what keeps him here. His matchup spread is probably a lot worse than it was, but I really feel like it's really his drive control. Like, I think he's one of the most drive efficient characters in the game. Like, if you really think about it, how often do you see a DJ get burnt out? Like, how often does that happen? Like, virtually never, unless they burn themselves out. That's the only way they'd have to burn themselves out, versus somebody like actually forcing him to burn himself out. So it's not doing button in the drive rush a whole lot. But what holds him down, though, he doesn't have a lot of conversions from his neutral. He can't really like do a button in the drive rush to force an exchange. He kind of has to use a fireball and then drive rush, which has some risk from different ranges. So just because characters can negate it, they can perfect parry or parry and then DP is his approach. I mean, he can manipulate his drive rush a little bit, so that kind of plays into that as well. So he is a little bit tricky in the neutral because of that. And yet again, that's where you can get a lot of damage, is making you second guess his movement, and also having some air approach with the knee. But I definitely think he still has a pretty decent matchup spread, and I think he deserves to be here still.
Yeah, so, I agree. I 110% agree.
So we're gonna move down for characters who we still think are good, but maybe just not deserving to be up here because of matchup spread or system mechanics, what have you. And I think the king of this position, I will probably go ahead and say, is Ryu. What do you think?
Mr. Basic? Yeah, I think it's a toss-up between either Ryu and Luke. I guess you could argue Chun as well, but they all kind of struggle in the same way, where they're really consistent. They have everything, because that's the argument for Chun, is like, Chun has fireball, drive rush, Chun has a good low forward, 7 frames, people say it is. It's good Oki pressure, but then it's like, Chun is not drive efficient at all.
Horribly
Chun, the way Chun wins is, like, she throws a fireball, she can drive rush, but it's not as good as the other characters. I don't care what anybody says, my opinion again. She has like good conversions from her overhead and stuff, but once she kind of like burns out, she's going to burn out. I think that's my thing with her. Chun-Li will burn out, because she will. They made a couple of changes, like her forward medium punch not being as easily confirmable kind of hurts, in my opinion. And then her matchup spread isn't as great. Like before, I think Cammy, Juri, and Chun-Li were kind of similar characters, where they all struggled against like some of the top tiers, but they had a really like good consistent game plan going. But the way they hit Chun was with her heavy kick and not doing as much damage on anti-airs. Chun was she was one of the big reasons I put her in the string test video, was because she's one of those characters, and she's been like this since I can remember, I feel like, where Chun doesn't knock you down. It's not her thing. Chun is very annoying to get to because of how good her normals is and how good her pushback or like spacing is overall. That's how she worked in every game. I'm pretty sure. I haven't played all the Street Fighters, but that's
a weakness for her in this game.
Yeah, it's like that was her thing, but in this game, which is probably one of the only games she can't do this in, she can't get back to her prominent position to really threaten you. Chun wants to be annoying, cat and mouse, similar to Juri, but she can't do that in this game, so she's forced to brawl with you. And she has buttons to quote-unquote brawl with you, like crouching medium kick, but it's just, she's not drive efficient, doesn't get throw presence mid-screen. If she throws you mid-screen, she doesn't get anything for it, so you can kind of just take the throw against her every time. Yeah, I think that's like pretty much it. Chun also struggles with a lot of the characters. She struggles with Akuma, Bison, Guile a little bit. She beats Rashid, yeah. She struggles with Ed. She does slightly beat Ken. Struggles with Cammy. Struggles with JP.
JP.
Like, she does slightly beat Juri or beats Juri. Terry is weird. Like she doesn't have a good consistent enough matchup chart to be as good as people say she is. And that's a lot. That goes with Ryu, her, and Luke. They're all the same in that regard. Or every character in B tier probably.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely, and to kind of reiterate with Ryu, even though Ryu did really good at Capcom Cup, but a lot of that has to do more so with the player and the strategy that people just weren't aware of. On top of a lot of the things that Blas was doing, he could have easily done with Akuma or Ken, as far as like just being on point. But the strategy of going against people's drive is what kind of stands him out. But the one thing that really hurts Ryu in this game is really just the system mechanics. He's still very heavily can be disrupted by perfect parry or DI. They're always like looming threats in his pressure, so it kind of has to play very neutrally quiet at first, so those things don't just become like a huge problem. Like in Japan, I see them, they perfect parry Solar Plex. Like I know Solar Plex is really powerful, but it's just like Bison stand hard punch. Like you can get to
easier to react to actually.
Yeah, it's even slower. Yeah, so that kind of goes away. I mean, perfect pairing, like fireballs and donkey kicks and stuff like that. It just becomes more prominent, like the level of play as the level of play goes up. So like he's forced to kind of just play really well still. And he has to more so play the indirect damage and drive damage game, which doesn't fall in line with what the meta of the game as a whole is. It works if done properly, but it might not. Like if somebody understands like how that works, they can kind of play around that, and then his other weaknesses kind of just show up if that's played around properly. But his damage is really high, so if you do get touched, like he can definitely turn some matches into almost like 2-touch games, almost from just his damage. But that only really comes up with level 3. So, but same with Luke. I feel like Luke is kind of in the same boat as Ryu, where like his damage is really, his pound for pound damage with meter is good, but his light damage is terrible. He has probably some of the worst light damage in the game. Like I think like literally 2 lights into like his light upper does like 900 damage. That's terrible. That's really bad. So he really requires a lot of drive to do damage. His control is okay. Sandblasts are alright, but they're very easily perfect parried. You can perfect parry them, like them by accident sometimes and punish. Like he has a DP, he has a solid DP. He does get Oki from his DP, so that's kind of good that he can get something from his control. So if he does EX DP, he can kind of force an exchange in that regard. I mean, he has a solid enough low forward target combo that I feel like that just completely gets unused, but I feel like that's really powerful. He has advancing normal, so his neutral is pretty good. It's just not these characters. He doesn't get as much as they do, with and without. Like he really needs drive to do damage to you.
Luke has a counterplay. Like you can use some of Luke's counterplay to disrupt what he does, but if you go against a character like Gief or like Bison, like their bullshit is just way harder to disrupt.
Way harder to
than
disrupt.
Luke and Ryu and Chun. That's why I think those 3 are tied. Some people might move them up. I wouldn't be against them being below. I mean, being in A tier, because I wouldn't. But for our tier list, they're just not. They don't have things that are as strong as the A top.
They're just not scary. They're not
characters.
as nearly scary. Yeah, I don't think they have anything that's so apparently like really scary or really annoying that you really have to understand to beat. So, and probably the only other character that probably I could put here, and this can be an ignorance pick, but I do feel like this character neutral wise is solid enough. On top of also having a strong level 2 kind of puts him here as well. Like his level 2 presence is still really powerful. Also too, he does have some solid matchups against some top tiers. mostly against Cammy. Like he does actually pretty solid against Cammy. I
And
don't.
Guile too. Yeah.
I think Guile, he's always had like Blanka's always had a fairly strong presence against Guile in just about every Street Fighter. So I just don't feel like he gets heavily disrupted by these characters. He might not like them; they might not be the best matchups, but I feel like he can fight them. And then he could definitely fight these characters just fine. I think. I don't think he necessarily gets disrupted by these characters that much. Maybe Luke because of Sandblast, but these characters I feel like he fights like okay at least. It's not horrible. Like his worst matchup I know, or one of his worst matchups is probably like Honda, and yet again Honda's essentially irrelevant in the meta as a whole. I know they don't like Ken as well, but I still feel like Blanka's always fought Shoto's relatively well, so I still think he does that okay. So I still feel like he deserves to be here. Like he can do something, I think. So probably moving down now. I think the character that we could probably put at the top of this is this character. I want you to talk about this one because I know you have more experience with this character than I do.
I would say, in my opinion, I would say put Kimberly next. And I explain why.
Right.
Manon is a very good character in more ways, and then in some ways, but she's really bad in others. Manon, she doesn't play a similar game like every other character. She doesn't really drive rush on block all too much. At least she's not really supposed to. But her neutral presence is really, really good. The thing I like about her the most is what drawn me to playing her. And then her matchup spread is very whack because she loses to every character with like a fireball drive where she just cannot contest. Her projectile invincibility move is good against Shoto fireballs, but any slower fireball than that, it could even be a tad slower, she struggles with a bit. So if she can't force them to play close to her or like, fisticuffs, she doesn't really do that great. Her Oki is ass because it is. Though she really sacrificed Oki. She can't drive rush after most things without the threat of getting DP'd because she can't really fake anything out. She doesn't have a 8 frame level 1 or 7 frame level 1, so if she gets knocked down, you can kind of bully her. It's and it's similar for Kim.to. So she does good against not Kim, but Manon does good against Shotos, but then she does good against characters who have to like fight her, like Bison. But like Guile, Rashid, Ed, like Cammy, not Cammy, Mai, Chun-Li, Aki, like all these
Probably
characters, DeeJay, yeah, they show up so often, and they really disrupt her game plan. And her normal, like her frame data is okay. She has good she has good strings. Like with her lights, she has probably some of the best lights in the game. Stand light kick could be a contender for best light kick in the game. But her frame data overall is mid. Like her crouch and light kick is -1 on hit, I believe, and -5 on block. It's like she has a bunch of problems on purpose to hold her back, because if she didn't have any of those problems, she would be the best character in the game because of her neutral presence. Like she's a character that shouldn't be too strong, but they could clean some things up to make her more fun to play. Some things she has just feel whack to me. I wouldn't know how to buff Manon, honestly. I'm not saying like I have ideas to do it, but after playing her, she's very fun, but I understand the struggle she goes through. She is I think simply because of her neutral presence, and she does good against Shoto characters or characters who have to brawl with her. She is like the queen of C tier, I guess. I wouldn't say like probably like B+, honestly, because I think every character is pretty good to win. We've seen people work Manon, so she's the queen of B+, I would say. And then Kimberly shares similar. Kimberly, she doesn't outright beat anybody. Her neutral is okay, because it is like stand beam kick and heavy punch, my goats. But she takes so many exchanges to kill you, And then if she gets put on defense, like perfect parry background, or just put on defense any type of way, she kind of just explodes. She's designed to be a character that can get in easily and mess you up, but on defense she crumbles herself. So they make her have a fast drive rush. She's very meter efficient. She does have good Oki. She's the only character in the game that can throw and get damage from, like, more damage from it, like combo and the super. She has very like good offensive things. Her defense is ass though, and her neutral being so kind of like coin tossy in a way where she can't contest everybody holds her back. That's why characters like any character with a fireball kind of makes her struggle, but characters that really can brawl in neutral, she will crumble against. Akuma, she like Guile a little bit, Cammy a little bit, just not to the same extent. Rashid, if she knocks him down.
Even
Chun, yeah, like Chun, Ryu, even Terry, Juri, Aki, like DeeJay, like all these characters can knock her down easily and disrupt her easily in neutral and make her be on defense. And she also takes risks. She takes way more risks than any other character. Arc step is a gamble. It's good. It's good that they made it a frame trap, but it's still a gamble because it is. So she constantly takes risks on offense just to not be on defense. She's one of those characters that they made her in a way where if you're not on offense, it feels like you're losing. And that's why I think she's not good enough to be like B tier or even A or S. Is for that exact reason.
Yeah, I agree. And the last thing this will be kind of the nail in the coffin, at least for me, is her meter usage is terrible. Like, she plays, the meta of Street Fighter 6 is you kind of use level 3s for last round for 2-touch exchanges, whereas she needs to try and get out level 3, hit block or not, as soon as possible, just to get to a point where she has the same scaling as the rest of everybody else, damage wise. So that alone is going to disrupt her consistency because she's not playing into the best way that meter is used in the game and how it's consistently used in all levels of play. I can't even say just high levels of play, like all levels of play, like using level 3 for the last round or having level 3 in the last round is crucial. And there's times where it's just like you need to use that super almost on the very first exchange, and then in the second round when you get it, or if you do get it in the first round, that's like which is best case scenario that she gets it first round, which can happen. But like just the amount of exchanges in a game that's so chaotic with the amount of risk that she has to take for the reward, on top of then probably Sim. Jamie has kind of come up a little bit since the last patch. Jamie overall, as a character, I don't feel like he's only here in this spot because he doesn't have his best tools from round start. Every other character is complete for the most part at round start, where he is not. So that's constantly going to hold him down. And then his best things that do come into play are probably they're just subpar versions of other moves in the game. So he doesn't really get a good drive rush check until drink 1, which is really weird, which is his stand jab, right? This is probably his best, and his drive rush checks as a whole aren't that good, but that's his best one. He needs a drink to have it, which sucks. And then he gets a dive kick. The only other character in the game that really has like a true dive kick is Cammy, but it's a worse version of her dive kick. So there's that.
Because it can't be plus, I don't think. I think
it can be.
I think EX is the one that can be plus, or is that?
Yeah. I think it can be, but it's like it's
too specific.
It's way too specific. On top of the fact, like the actual hurt box for his dive kick is still really bad. They still haven't fixed that. Like I've seen
strike. I'm sorry.
I've seen crouch medium kicks, which dive kicks are designed to beat. I've seen his dive kick lose to crouch medium kicks. That makes no sense. So the point that he has that is a little weird. So I feel like his dive kick is maybe using it more of a defensive end and maybe to kind of navigate fireballs a little bit. Now when he gets into level 2, he gets A.K.I., or what I like to call the Chris Brown breakdance move. it's the only move in the game that I feel like that you can use on reaction that doesn't require any resources, outside of obviously just the drink itself getting to it, but that can go through fireballs on reaction, which is wild. That's the only. I feel like that's, if
That's
anything,
what sticks out
Jamie's got,
for him to me.
I think that's the one outstanding quality this character has, that is you cannot zone him. Like once he gets to level 2, there's no zoning him whatsoever. Fireball Drive Rush almost goes away with this character because he can just walk you down, and as soon as you throw a fireball, he's gonna hit you. And not only that, that move puts you in a safe jump situation because it's plus 42, which is the magic number for safe jumps in this game. So like that's really powerful. So he gets double dash up or safe jump. So getting to level 2, I feel like you actually this character goes from here to probably here with level 2. His light damage goes up as well. Like his light damage, like he can, from a typical light string, most characters in the game do maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 1500, maybe 1600, and then like you have characters like Ken that do like 1700, like on the high end from a light. He can easily do 1700 damage from a light, or at least very close to it. And the reason why that's important is because you're looking at almost getting close to 20% of somebody's health from a jab, and he has access to that, while also getting really strong knockdown. So that's really powerful, which is why I feel like he goes from here to here just with 2 drinks, but he still has to get to them. So which means he's gonna have to compromise in other ways,
sacrificing OP for drinks. And like this game is all about consistent pressure. That's why characters have such good like corner carry. Jamie doesn't have really good corner carry until, I mean, his light DP gives him 2 dashes, but he has to sacrifice that.
But the problem, the next character we'll go ahead and say is probably Sim. I still think the biggest reason this character just doesn't excel is more so because you're gonna make contact in this game. You cannot zone, like, which is, even though Sim is not a zoner, people say he's a zoner, but like in every other game, he actually wants to force his will just from the air. Typically, he's probably the best dive kick character in Street Fighter. We'll go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah.
But like, he's definitely, his defense, like not having any type of defensive like presence in this game is really bad. Like he has essentially no defensive presence whatsoever until level 2 comes into play, which is really bad. Like he kind of has to really rely on playing perfectly from the beginning of the round to the end, which is not possible in a game like this. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to miss something. Like something is going to squeak through. So you mean to tell me not only is something going to squeak through, but then you're not going to have a consistent answer or even any type of measure outside of system mechanics, which most of the defensive, system mechanics are very wishy-washy. They can be okay, but they may not grant a lot of reward, and so they're just going to be in that position again. But he does have very good offense. His offense is actually really good. If he does get in and gets going, he can be scary. He does have one of the better fireball drive rushes in the game, like EX Gale, or EX Fireball, or Arch. I'm sorry. If he gets that out, like it's literally a combo disruptor. Like he doesn't go away. So you kind of have to deal with that. He can kind of knee jerk you into moving around that. He also has probably one of the better throws in the game. I think it's like his down throw, something like that, has really nasty Oki potential. So that's definitely different. His damage can be kind of high as well. If he does get to level 2 and you get hit for any reason, he can easily do like 70% of your health from a level 2 combo with best case scenario, maybe even more than that possibly. I've seen Zaf, shout out to Zaf on that. I've seen him like showing some tech with level 2 in season 1. I was just like, good lord, do not get hit by that. But one other thing that does stand out to him though, and this is a little bit different, he actually holds out and burnout pretty well. So even though he's relatively drive efficient, just overall, but he can kind of be as liberal as he wants to be with his drive because he can stall really well. So on top of that too, there's some situations where he could just teleport away from DI situations if they're not set up properly. So you kind of have to be kind of tight with your DI stuff in the corner, just simply because of that. On top of the fact he could just simply stall. So I don't know if there's a way to make Sim any better without like drastically changing this game.
I think
I feel like he's gonna be kind of bad for the the whole.
I think
life.
After 5 Sim, I think he doesn't need to be good. they could probably give him a couple of things to make him go to B tier, but Sim, you don't like. Gief is already kind of pushing it. Rich will tell you this: when it comes to the extreme characters, you don't want them too good because it's not good for the game. When Sim was one of the best characters, or probably the best character in 5. And I know he takes work. Not everybody was playing Sim. I already know those arguments. But
that was so bad.
he was so toxic in 5. The fact that V shift, like he had defensive options where you had to like kind of guess of what Sim was gonna do, and if you didn't guess right, he was out. He was really, really dumb in 5. So in this game, he kind of deserves to be like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, every character that's down here, like B+, they're in here because if they get put on defense or they have to play the catch-up game, they're not going to win.
They're not going to win.
That's like, I know people probably watch me play in ranked and I have some type of X factor. That's all me. That's not the character. That's just me. The player carries these characters. That's what I'm saying. You can go ahead and put Lilly and Marisa up here because like all these characters right here, if they have to catch up to you after being knocked down, they struggle. Because they do.
Her down here.
You can put it down there, but that's what like you don't have to really explain Lilly. Lilly does do good against some of the top tiers. Guile, Rashid,
Gief. She does really well
Gief. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
She does okay against. I think she does okay against Cammy. It's not like horrible, but it's.
For Cammy, she's pretty annoying. I can agree to that. But Lilly, she disrupts some of the top tiers, but Lilly is just probably one of the plainest characters in this game, where I don't even think they could. The only thing that they could give Lilly, and I think every character down here, is a level 1 that's fast. They shouldn't. I said this in our last video. There should be no level 1 in this game if they don't have a DP that is 10 frames. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Because none of these characters down here do. I mean. Kim does have some of the best offense in the game, but they don't do anything particularly like extraordinary for them not to have at least a good level 1. So, like them being the way they are, having to take so many risks or just play perfectly is what they have to do, is holding them back. Of course, that's why they can't be up there with every other character. They can win. Not saying it can't win, but their condition for winning is way harder to get to than every other character in the cast, and you can kind of see that by looking at this tier list. Like,
or it's very easily disrupted as well. Like it's just very easily, like you could just drive reversal most of Lily's stuff.
Yep.
Like
so that kind of clears up, I would say, what B+ is or okay. They all struggle in a similar way, and now we come down to the last two.
These characters suck. These characters, they both suck. They suck bad as crap.
Honda is a character I don't even want to be good. I think he kind of deserves to be down here just because the way they designed him in this game. But they will have to like change the system up, which they won't. Perfect Parry being a huge disruptor of butt slam and headbutt, which is his 2 most used move throughout all Street Fighters, makes him put him down here. His pressure overall, like his presence in neutral, is very disruptive by fireballs. His Oki is just okay. It's like Honda went from, people say Honda was the best character in season 1. He's so annoying and da. It literally just kept falling down the list until he was found at the bottom of the trash bin with no bag. Like, Honda is the trash bin. Marisa is just the trash that's in the bin. That's how they go. And for Marisa,
I 110% agree with that. The trash Marisa, bin and the trash in the bin. That is 100% it.
Marisa is a character where she has good neutral. She has good buttons. She can't drive rush from the light. Really dumb damage, which is her trope. Like, that's her character trope. Can't take it away from her, and they shouldn't. But she has to guess on her own knockdown, which I don't think people take. They don't take advantage of enough. She can't really knock you down from certain things and threaten you. If she knocks you down and she goes to do, like, she does Gladius and she goes to, like, drive rush and get her Oki, she can't do heavy punch without thinking about DI. If she does her meaty heavy punch, she can get either drive reversal or DI'd. So she has to do medium kick just to be able to react to heavy punch. I mean, on DI. But that sacrifices her stopping you from walking back or doing anything else. On top of, she gets, I know she supposed to be the disruptor of DI. She gets fucked by DI if she holds any type of button. So, like, her damage is what stands out about her. She does terribly against majority of the cast, to be honest, or she like goes even. The only character I can think of that she beats is Guile. Like a little bit.
And that's still loose. It's like loosely.
Moderate Marisa beats Guile, I believe. Like I do think that's a thing, but like she slightly beats Guile. And other than that, she struggles to get her game plan started. She's the character that plays probably one of the most different games in the worst possible way. Because she doesn't really force you to do anything. She plays off of your mistakes. Her walk speed isn't that fast. Her anti-airs are ass. She just has too much to worry about. You know, she gets put on defense. She has to just gotta fight. She's worse than the B-. That's why she's the trash in the trash bin. You might want to switch these. Give Marisa some credit. Put Honda at the bottom. put Marisa closer to you lose and Honda at the bottom.
Both these characters are just really just for obviously worse reasons. Like this one we already talked about with Marisa as well. She just loses to throw too. Like you put her on defense, like she has no choice but to like tech stuff, which is really bad because all of her armored stuff just loses to throw. Like her having more health really doesn't mean a whole lot. Like you said, she punishes mistakes really well, but she can't force mistakes very well. So that's kind of contradictory. Like she does big damage, but she can't force mistakes. So, I know one thing that really hurts her, is her drive rush. Her lights can't be drive rushed into anything. That is terrible. That is so painful. I don't know what they were thinking with that. They're not cooking with that one. The fact that she can't do that is wild. And then just to move over to Honda, like Honda just. Yet again, very disrupted by fireballs of any kind. His neutral's okay. He has some pressure, like space trap stuff. You know, stand medium punch, but it's a 10 frame normal. That's +1, so that's more of a gimmick than it is like a legitimate strategy. Like perfect parry heavily disrupts this character. If you get to a point where you can perfect parry headbutts and butt slam, like this character almost as a whole doesn't have anything else to really threaten you with. On top of that, I don't know if Marisa has one, but I know Honda does not have a throw loop either. So that sucks. Like not having a throw loop in a game.
I don't think Marisa does, no.
So neither of these characters have a throw loop, which in a game where throw loops are extremely prominent and it's almost essential to some corner pressure. And against some characters that they already struggle against, they can't force that exchange or force that threat. That is terrible. That is horrible. The only character in the game that I can think of that can somewhat circumvent that is Chun. And Chun doesn't have a throw loop either, but she at least has some throw presence because of the roundabout. But we're not going to sit here and talk about throw loops. That's a whole nother conversation. But just not having it in a game where just about everyone has it, and it's one of the one of the striking points for the game, that is really painful. So you finally fight to get somebody into that position, but then you don't even have one of the the main ways of threatening this position in the game. That's bro. You in the trash.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's it. I think to us,
that
of
pretty
course,
much wraps it up.
That does wrap this up. This tier list to us makes complete 100% sense. I feel like we explained everything well. Rich, you have anything to follow up and say about?
No, I would definitely like to hear everybody's feedback in the comments
Yeah.
and whatnot. And and it's okay to agree to disagree. And there's definitely going to be some. I will definitely say there's probably some ignorance points on on our ends for some stuff, and that's fair because there's just not enough information or haven't dug deep enough for some matchups. But I feel like this is a pretty safe tier list. I think it's more of a safe tier list than it is overall this is definite tier list.
No, I think this is I think personally, I think this is a definite tier list. The more I look at it, the more it just makes sense to me. Like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
And that's fair. That's fair enough. But I would definitely like to hear what everybody else has to say, but that's pretty much all I got on that.
All right, y'all already know what to do. Let me know down in the comments if you appreciate Rich's fucking discussion and his knowledge of how characters work overall. Let him know down there as well. I know you guys have been enjoying his presence on the channel. But that's pretty much it. You guys have a nice one. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Take it easy. Good stuff.